Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Oh, man, it's calling me. I'm waiting for 60 degrees on Tuesday. I'll tell you what, it's going to get above freezing today for the first time in a week. I've gone through a lot of bird seed and things along that line, but hey, we got the man on the line with us, a little misunderstanding, but we're glad always to talk to Luke Naylor. He is the Arkansas Game and Fish Waterfowl Coordinator. Good morning, Luke.
Morning. How are you today?
Well, we're doing good now. We can talk waterfowl at the end of the show. Jamie Fedderson was before that, and our co-hosts are Frank Barton out of Marion, Arkansas, and Bill Cooksey. And I know Frank is interested to get your observations on how the season went, and particularly, I think we talked to you before the season, and you're like everybody else. It looked great. And then I think there's birds now probably out there. If they can find water, it's not frozen. So talk about it. Talk about it to us, Luke.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting year, to say the least.
Yeah.
Started out early on. October last year it was Veterans Day. In 2019, and this year was actually a little bit earlier than that. We had a pretty decent cold front, got some water on the landscape. Some birds moved down, and then a lot of that water disappeared, and it kind of stayed sort of drier than what there is. I mean, average is always a deceptive term, but but it was overall kind of dry. We didn't have any of the major rivers stay at flood stage for any extended amount of time at all this season, so I would say that overall habitat was pretty limited. There wasn't a lot of water that, consistent rainfall that flooded a lot of casual areas that people just aren't purposely trying to flood. And so, overall a dry year. And when that happens, some research we've done using our aerial survey work does suggest that it sounds real simple, but it's really the amount of surface water that's on the landscape that leads to higher numbers of mallards in the state, and we just didn't have much of that this year. So, our counts in December and the first week of January were both down quite a bit for mallards, and down a little bit the third week of January as well. It's always interesting. I think you started to hear from a few people towards the end of the season, and those are the people who were shooting ducks all season. They don't say a lot during the season. You hear from those folks that aren't shooting ducks, and then toward the end of it, all of a sudden you start hearing some stories about people killing ducks. And I mean, I can't blame them. That's the way I am too. Last thing I'm going to do is tell people about shooting ducks.
Well, that's why we're doing this after the season, Luke.
Yeah, I don't need to tell anybody what I did until after it's all said and done.
And Frank, you listening on this, and Frank, you said the same thing early on. You had some pretty good success in the area you hunt in East Arkansas, right, Frank?
Right. What we noticed at the beginning of the season, and then it really just continued on through the end of the season. We had ducks. We had a lot of ducks. We had a lot of gadwalls, and we had a lot of pintails. But we did not have a lot of mallards. Very few mallards.
Yeah.
To the point we said, we just said it every hunt, where are the mallards?
You've heard that, hadn't you, Luke? I mean, you hear that.
And our surveys bore that out. We had, I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but in all those surveys, the first part of December and the first week of January, typically we're I think it's like almost 60% mallards in our counts, and I think those were more below 50, if not approaching 40% mallards this year. So just fewer mallards overall, and then of course a lower percentage of all the ducks that were out there. And I think it's just ducks got more options in more places, and pressure is probably higher than it's ever been. So those things combined are, I'll take take a step back. You never want to throw statements like higher than it's ever been. That's always not a smart thing to do. But I think people realize that there's a whole lot of hunting pressure for all over the mid-continent mallard range now, and I think folks are starting to realize how birds respond to that. What you do about it, that's a whole nother, that's a dozen different shows to even think about talking about that. But just fewer mallards overall. There just wasn't the water down here to attract them. I know a lot of people think, it's cold weather, it's cold weather. Well, yeah, sort of, but it's more about water, I think, and having that habitat down here for those birds to get on. And really, he hit me right upside the head right after. I mean, it was even the last week of duck season. I think some folks had kind of cashed it in, and then the week after duck season, that first week of February, just habitat just vanished from the landscape. You go across, drive through the Delta at all, and across all that ag land, and boards were pulled and fields were drained immediately following duck season. And
well, I know you guys, y'all probably have the best weekly waterfowl report of anybody I know when you compile this thing. And I remember reading you even checked in Iowa because you get the short stopping. Everybody thought it was short stopping. Whether the corn in Iowa was not right or rotten or whatever it might be, or even in Missouri, those places like that. But the mystery of southeast Missouri, I've heard some folks up there, and Bill Cooksey, you might have heard that too, that they had a real good season, but the same thing. Then I hear this that they got the same thing as we got, Luke. And so I mean, it's
southeast Missouri. Most people I know with places there quit going.
Yes, yeah.
It was bad.
So you can't say our ducks are in southeast Missouri because they weren't, or they weren't in Iowa, or they weren't in Missouri. No. So
they just really aren't.
I don't know about your job. It's
like that.
hard. You're not a predictor. I mean, a prognosticator. So when you look back over it now, so what do you guys do now? Do you throw all your figures together and try to come up with some kind of magic number or whatever it might be?
Well, I mean, so yeah, people ask, how the season went and all that, and it's a little early. I mean, there's the formal harvest surveys are wrapping up, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the folks who are in charge of that, they'll be compiling all that. We won't have a harvest estimate here for several months. I don't make predictions, but it's really, really hard to predict against Arkansas still leading the nation in mallard harvest. We do it every year, and it's not even close. So even with lower mallard counts overall and lots of anecdotes about people not seeing as many mallards, I'd be just absolutely shocked if we still weren't the national leader in mallard harvest. It's just, when there's 500,000 or so harvested here, the next closest state is barely getting out of 200,000. That takes a pretty drastic change to think that would change at all in one season.
Well, Arkansas is the mallard capital of the world. I mean,
Yep.
And not going to lose that anytime soon. Again, we're talking to Luke Naylor. He's the Arkansas Game and Fish Waterfowl Program Coordinator on Outdoors with Larry Ray on this February 20th. And we really appreciate you taking time, Luke. And it's just one of those years, and Frank will say that. And Bill, I know you will say this too, that it doesn't mean you're not going to try again next year. Frank, you're not giving up, are you?
Not. We're going to get normal weather next year. We're going to get 1999 over again, right?
Did you hear that, Luke? You may be a predictor of ducks, but Bill's got the weather down.
He's got it handled. That's good. I'll make sure I tell everybody you're the one that said it when they ask. When they ask what happens.
It's going to be like 1999 next year.
Yeah.
Right before Y2K. Right? That's
exactly.
So, hey, Luke, thank you, buddy, for being with us.
You bet.
Stay in tune, and we'll keep up with you, and appreciate you taking time to be with us, okay?
No problem at all. Take care.
Thanks, Luke. Okay. Luke Naylor. Let me wrap up the show here. Appreciate Brad Carson. It hasn't been too rough for you, has it?
No, you guys, it's been fun. I enjoyed the show today. Really good job,
fast.
y'all.
It's the fastest
Yeah.
90 minutes in outdoor radio programming. And,
Yeah, and in terms of the sound, just describing for folks as we do this on this Saturday morning, it's because of the weather and just trying to get around. So the phones worked good today.
Yeah, we're doing good, and I appreciate Bill and Frank. Thank y'all for taking time on this Saturday morning. And I'm reporting from home as Brad takes care of that, and Shelby McCall. Hopefully we'll be back next week. And next week's show, I tell you, I can't wait to talk to Molly Brown and John Knight, because guess what? Cookeville 2021, the U.S. Kayak Open is coming there, and they've already signed for the 2022 Kayak World Fishing Championship. Is coming to one of our favorite places, and that's Cookeville. And also we're going to talk to Bassmaster Elite Series angler Matt Robertson. And, of course, it's Bonus Wong, which means we'll talk fishing. So, Bill, Frank, thank you, buddy. Let's close it out as I always do on Saturday morning. It doesn't cost an extra cent to be a good sport. And what else, guys?
God bless the
USA.
Where the mighty Mississippi flows by